transgender athlete in golf, fatal daredevil attempt, and the first nonbinary trend, whatever. This ain't your mama's podcast. It's the Chico de Manuel Show. Let's get it. The clock starts in 3, 2, 1. Courtesy of Total Pro Sports, story by Lou Flavius. Los Angeles Clippers guard arrested after loaded gun found in his car. A Los Angeles Clipper was arrested for gun possession in LA on Sunday following a routine traffic stop. According to a report from TMZ, shooting guard / forward Amir Coffey was taken into custody after police pulled over a speeding car in which he was the passenger. Officers claimed they smelled marijuana while approaching the vehicle, prompting them to search it. The search produced a loaded gun. Coffey is reported to have admitted that the weapon was his and was subsequently arrested for misdemeanor possession of a firearm. Another person was cited for marijuana. The player was booked into jail around 5:05 a.m. on the day and was released a few hours later on his recognizance. He is due to appear in court for a hearing in August. The 26-year-old has played 181 games for the Clippers over the past 4 seasons, having joined the team in 2019. He's averaged 5.5 points, 1.7 rebounds, and 1.2 assists throughout his career in Los Angeles. He began as a two-way player and eventually earned himself a guaranteed contract. The Clippers signed him to a 3-year deal worth $11 million last season, and he's set to earn $3.6 million next term. The team could be on the hook for that money, depending on how his case plays out. Well, this is a rather quick one, so this gives me a lot of time to rant about this goofy motherfucker. I don't know the whole deal surrounding the Ja Morant case, but like, did you guys fucking learn from him? Like, why the fuck are athletes constantly getting caught with guns, constantly getting caught with drugs, drunk driving, doing all sorts of shit that wealthy ass athletes don't need to be doing? You know, I think it'd be pretty cut and dried. You know, you got a fucking lifetime career, like you got the job of a lifetime. You got millions and millions of dollars, even if it is for a short period of time. And you want to do shit like possess guns illegally. Now, this guy is in California. I don't even remember because when I read stupid shit like that, it goes in one ear and out the other. So when I'm reading the article, he's in California. He should be extra careful about his fucking gun. And like, I know you're an athlete. You might claim you got motherfuckers coming after you and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you do, don't. Stop doing that. Stop doing what you're doing, just making people come after you and make you feel like you need to carry a gun around. And then not only carry a gun around, get stopped for marijuana and then have the gun discovered. Now you got to go to court. You just signed an $11 million deal. If you're going to buy guns, keep them in your fucking house or go to open carry state. It's a real simple solution to this. Like, didn't Ja Morant teach you anything? Like, why are you trying to throw your career away? Like, if you're going to throw your career away, at least auction that motherfucker off so some poor motherfuckers like myself have a chance to fucking get some of that action. Because, should I get famous, I got that much money and I'm worried about somebody fucking with me coming after me. I'm fucking, I'm hiring some bodyguards, dude. I'm hiring some armed fucking guards. I remember when Andrew Tate was at the height of his shit, he was talking about how he had a fucking 10-man security detail all armed with him at all times. Like, dude wasn't fucking around. Dude was not fucking around. Now he's on house arrest. So it's like, that's the perfect place to be caught with all your guns, at home, you know? Not when you're out and about smoking weed, driving around as a fucking professional athlete. It's just a real stupid thing to do. It's a real dangerous it's a real dangerous thing to do. And like, why are you jeopardizing so much for so little? A day long, a night long high? Smoke in the fucking house, bro. Smoke in the fucking house. If you need somebody to go get you some Crunchwrap Supremes and some soft shell tacos and shit, fucking send a lackey up to Uber Eats. Like, bro, you can afford this. What you can't afford is to make dumbass decisions that could fucking fuck your career up. Because now if the Clippers are on the hook for your fucking contract, once that shit's done, nobody else is going to sign you. You're a liability. You know, this shit is dumb. And I'm tired of seeing athletes, especially in the NBA for some reason, catching all these fucking gun charges or having all these problems with fucking guns. Like, if you're still in that life, you got some conversations to have. You got some decisions to make. Nobody should be coming after you when you got a spot on an NBA roster. Like, you shouldn't be in that life to where people are coming after you, where your life's fucking in danger, and you feel like you need to carry around guns, and carry around guns illegally at that. Especially riding around in Cali. If you was riding around in Cali, use your fucking brain, man. Bottom line, athletes are stupid. They can't be stupid. Stop carrying your guns illegally. Stop putting yourself in positions to just ruin your life. You got the greatest fucking gig ever. Why would you ruin that? It makes no sense. America Insider, courtesy of David Ruffle. Transgender athlete wins women's professional golf tournament. Now, before I get into this article, like, I've touched on this very recently and also longer than recently ago, whatever you want to call it, in the more distant past. You don't see trans men, DNA women, biological women coming over to the men's sport and doing this shit. Transgender athlete wins women's professional. Why didn't they say trans woman? Because, like, that's what this is supposed to be, right? Why is this article allowed to not so much misgender, but neutrally gender? Like, no, don't say transgender athlete. Call it for what it is. We got to acknowledge this person as a stunning, brave woman who went out there and dominated a bunch of women in a golf tournament, which is like, you know, what's the point of having women's golf if you're just going to do that? But I digress. Let's keep it moving here. Oh, yeah. I'm firing up. You should, too. Yes. Sorry, I didn't expect firing up to take this long, but it is. What else you got to do? If you had something else to do, you'd be doing it. Relax. Oh, I fucked it up. Okay. Let's move forward. 32-year-old Brianna Gill won the Australian Women's Classic professional golf tournament. Reacting to the victory, Gill said, "I always thought in my head if I ever got the opportunity to actually win a golf tournament and the girls happened to come running out on the green, I was going to stand there and take it. I wasn't going to run away." Well, that's one hell of a fantasy. Good luck with that. If you get yourself in that position, you just take it. It was so special. Gill's victory quickly went viral and sparked a worldwide debate about transgender athletes competing against women. Sparked a worldwide debate? This debate's been going on way before whoever the fuck Brianna Gill won a golf tournament. Prior to this article, I didn't know who the fuck Brianna Gill was, and after this article, I'm still not gonna know who the fuck that human is. So it's a tweet from Outkick. Biological man wins trophy from women's competition again, showing nerves of steel. Brianna Gill triumphed in a playoff for her first professional win at the #Aus Women's Classic, the WPGA Tour tweeted Sunday. Women's Golf Tour disables replies to tweet about transgender golfers' tournament victory. So let's just talk about this. Anytime you see somebody turn off the comments to something that they know people are going to want to comment on, that's a sign that, you know, somebody's obviously on some bullshit here, okay? Somebody obviously knows some fuckery is about and doesn't want it to catch wind. They don't want these motherfuckers finding out. about this sinister ass shit we got going on with these men entering the women's tournaments and dominating them and shit. And I use the term dominate because in a competition, the person who won first place dominated everybody. That's how tournaments work. Anywho, a tweet from the Women's PGA Tour of Australasia. Is that a hold on, is that a typo? Australians Women's Classic, Australasia. Okay, whatever. Australasia showed Gill holding the trophy. It was viewed over 7 million times before being deleted. The comments had been turned off, but that didn't stop almost 3,000 quote tweets of people criticizing the victory. Sorry, I don't use Twitter, so the term quote tweets threw me the fuck off. Political and cultural commentator Megyn Kelly criticized the media and sports world for celebrating 32-year-old Brianna Gill, who won the Australian Women's Classic professional golf tournament. Numerous major media outlets failed to note Gill's transgender status as controversy swirls about the physical advantages of biological males. Quote, "This is a biological man," Kelly responded bluntly. A fact not even mentioned in much of the major press coverage celebrating her win over the actual women in the tournament. It's a fraud, it's immoral, and it has to stop. Kelly noted that the WPGA Australia's report made no mention of Gill's transgender identification, which is something else I said at the beginning of this. It said transgender. Why didn't it say trans woman? Former NCAA swim star Riley Gaines also shared her thoughts on social media by tweeting, quote, "Who's surprised the male is being recognized as the winner in the women's category?" Which I totally agree with. Scottish player Hailey Davidson became the first transgender to see major success in professional golf on the U.S. mini tour in 2021. Davidson identifies as the world's first openly transgender person to win a professional golf tournament. Who gives a shit? The post-transgender athletes win professional wins golf tournament appeared first on America Insider. I probably don't have to read that part, right? Oh, okay. That's just something for later. I have to bring that up and save that. But yeah, okay. So a couple things to touch on here. Transgender athlete. Why didn't they say trans woman? Why do they want to glorify this male woman who has won the women's golf tournament? But like I said, it's not really a misgender, but it's not. It's an evasive gender. Like they wanted to acknowledge the transgender part without creating a headline that was gonna give it all away, as if we didn't already know. We already know this. We already know this is happening. The United States has showed a complete disregard for women, women's sports, and for doing anything about this epidemic of trans women coming into women's professional sports, professional spaces, and kind of dominating. You know, we kind of want to just sweep it under the rug, and we want to kind of let it happen without having the conversation. But it's like you can't let that happen without having the conversation, because the conversation is constantly going. This is an active conversation. This is an active topic. This is not something to any degree you can sweep under the rug. If you hired a transgender janitor at McDonald's, we got to talk about that. Like, if that shit made a headline, people would talk about it. People have a tendency to care about that kind of shit. Especially when it puts women in an awkward position, and when women speak out about these awkward positions, which they absolutely should, this is what happens. It's man, what's the word I'm looking for? It is, man, it's not it's repulsive. Like, I just find it it's hard to find even words, like when you just keep seeing it and you keep seeing it, and you know that they're just gonna get support just because people are on the same team. But like, the things these people support are seriously damaging. Seriously damaging. Like, we can't afford to have people on the wrong team. These are the people that are in charge. How can you turn around and say that you care about women, but then let these people do what they're doing over and over and over and over again. Like, this ain't new. It's just every day. It's a new sport. Other than surfing, weightlifting, MMA, swimming, golf. And like, why is this news? There's nothing historic about this as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing historic out of the sense that it's the first time something happened. What did this human say? If you get yourself in that position, you just take it. It was so special. Fuck. So were they referring to the girls running on the green? Because, like, I don't know if that happened. It doesn't look like that happened from the imagery that's provided. And, like, what do you mean if you get yourself in that position, you just take it? So is that some type of tacit admission to where, like, you don't ask questions because you know the answer to those questions? Like, that you know you own some complete and utter bullshit and that you're robbing some hard-working woman of her opportunity just so you can be seen and be visible? See, the one thing these trans people don't understand, also along with many feminists, they don't get this either, is they want two mutually exclusive concepts. They want the equality of opportunity and they want the equality of outcome. These two concepts bump. You cannot have both. You cannot be guaranteed a spot and guaranteed to reap the fruit of the labor of those spots without the labor part. So you think you need to be there just because, you know, there aren't enough transgender people in these spaces. Another time where an observation is made, but nobody wants to fucking talk about why. Nobody wants to talk about why. They just want to talk about that. It is. And we need to talk about why. Because if we talk about why, you'll understand why that is. And if you don't talk about why, you have a bunch of confused, delusional motherfuckers walking around here, fucking up the culture, taking opportunities away from women, and confusing everybody in the process with this gobbledygook-ass nonsense. Gotta stop having this conversation and shit like this is gonna keep happening and keep happening. And it's gonna seem good until it's a woman that you care about or it's a woman that's one of your loved ones and you see her get robbed of an opportunity because of some hairy-armed woman named whose name was Tom, but now his name is Trish, who's coming in your sport and blowing your ass out like he naturally and biologically should. Complain then. I want to see you do it. Courtesy of Daily Express US by Alice Scarcy. Daredevil plunges 68 floors to his death after Hong Kong skyscraper stunt, quote, went wrong. You think? All right, here we go. A daredevil photographer was found dead after he climbed a 712-foot-high skyscraper. Remy Lucidi, 30, had made a name for himself with his intrepid photographic stunts, which often saw him scaling high buildings around the world to take photographs and selfies. Mr. Lucidi, whose name on Instagram was Remy Enigma, had reached the 68th floor of the Trigunter Tower in the mid-levels area in Hong Kong. The Frenchman was last seen alive by a maid inside the building as he knocked on the windows, possibly to catch her attention and try to return inside. The startled male called the police after noticing the man, but when help arrived, he was nowhere to be found in the high part of the building. It's a fucking huge skyscraper, too. They show a picture of it. Mr. Lucidi is believed to have fallen off the building on Trigunter Path before the arrival of officers, and his body was later found on the ground. The young adventurer had arrived at the residential complex after 6 p.m. on July 27th, the police said, and reportedly told a security guard he was visiting a friend on the 40th floor. The resident named by the social media star has since denied knowing Mr. Lucidi, leading to think the photographer may have named him simply to bypass security. Surveillance camera footage shows Mr. Lucidi leaving the elevator on the 49th floor and later taking the stairs to reach the very top level on 68. Police found his sports camera, which contained videos of the extreme sports he had embraced, the South China Morning Post reported. Police officers are now investigating Mr. Lucidi's death and on Saturday visited a hostel where the man checked in on July 17th and was supposed to stay until Sunday, the news outlet wrote. Mr. Lucidi had detailed many of his climbing stunts on his Instagram account, amassing almost 4,000 followers. The last picture he posted on the photo-sharing social media platform 6 days ago was a skyline of Hong Kong. His account shows how the Frenchman had dared climb various structures around the world. News of his death prompted many of his fans to take to Instagram and share their sadness. One social media user named Mudaka Gavno wrote, "If his family makes some sort of donation thing for his funeral, please let me know. I would love to help out." Yeah, I would love to help out too, but unfortunately, I don't give a damn. I did not know of this person prior to, hearing about his death. Personally, I don't even like watching those fucking videos. They kind of give me nausea just to even look at this motherfucker walking and like taking this risk. It's like, I mean, if you want to live fast, die young, go for it. I personally don't find it a viable form of entertainment. I don't find it something that I want to be seeing people do. It's like, what if you're doing some live shit and I witness you fucking fall off a building? Like, I don't want that image in my head. I don't even want it imaginarily, so then like actually have the visual. Like, you've burned that shit into my memory banks, and I don't want an image of some goofball falling off a fucking building just for Facebook likes. Or just as what happened to dude walking a fucking tightrope where they got the security net? He's over like a deep ass lake or some shit. Like, they got like airbags or something to deploy. Like, what happened to that shit? What happened to motherfuckers like swallowing flaming swords and shit? Like, this dude wants to crip walk on the edges of girders and shit on rooftops. Crip walking on rooftops right on the edge and shit. This motherfucker want to watch You Got Served on the corner of a building. Like, if you don't sit your Chris Brown wannabe ass down. I guess he did sit down, permanently. Like I said, it's hard for me to even just scrolling through this shit and looking at these shit he's standing on, looking at the height of this building. It must have been a gruesome, quick, yet painful but quick. Like, just flap, boom. He probably bounced about 5-10 feet and it was lights out. Thankfully, he didn't fall on nobody. They never consider that shit. What if you fall on somebody? Now your dumbass, stupid shit has affected somebody else now. Yeah, man, I don't even know why I picked this one. Like, I can't even stretch this out to 10 minutes. I just think the fucking headline caught me, because like every time one of these videos are sprung up in my shorts or some shit like that, which is how I end up seeing them, I fucking feel like I kind of hope you fall, nigga, because you on some bullshit. Like, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, if looking at this can give me anxiety, like make me like spread my teeth, my lips and shit like that yikes expression, like if it can make me do that, I just don't understand why. I understand why, but I don't agree with it, and I don't want to understand further that would get me to agree with it. I just want your ass to stay on the ground where your ass belong, or actually be somebody working on that building when something went wrong and that happened. It's like, now you have my sympathy. Like, now I feel bad. Like, damn, this guy was actually doing something valuable for the infrastructure and, for humankind. This motherfucker wasn't just rolling the dice because somebody put dice in front of him. That shit's scary, bro. I don't fuck around. I was 8 years old the first time I went to the fucking Stratosphere in Las Vegas. It was called the Stratosphere back then. Now it's just the Strat. I was all confident and shit, and I was all cocky, but once I got to the top and I looked out and I saw all that shit, I said, fuck that. I'm gone. And I did not get on the roller coaster that was at the top of that bitch, and I was done with that motherfucker. I did not care that I chickened out. I got fucking scared. And I'm looking down, they got this flimsy-ass little fence up there. I'm like, this is all you got keeping me from going over the edges? Like, y'all motherfuckers built the concrete structure 400 fucking feet in the air, but y'all couldn't make a small concrete wall at the top for, like, people's safety and shit? What, in the interest of visibility? Fuck off. Shit's dumb. I don't wish to see people die. But when you're walking on the edge of a fucking 68-story tall skyscraper with no safety harness, just for Instagram likes, that's the fire you playing with. What the fuck? How am I, that was part of the deal. Washington Examiner. Opinion by Tom Joyce. First transgender participant in Women's World Cup, still a woman. Now, I was going to say they dodged this, but they came full circle at the end, still a woman. First transgender participant, still a woman. Now, before we get into that, think of that. What the fuck does that mean? First transgender participant in Women's World Cup, still a woman? The fuck? Now, we already talked about in the last podcast how at the Miss Italy protest, how they kind of shot themselves in the foot by all the trans men, which are DNA biological women signing up for the Miss Italy pageant due to their stipulation, this egregious stipulation to only allow women into a women's pageant. But some of them passed through and made some of the callbacks or whatever. But like they did this, and it's like, well, if you do this, you kind of forfeit any say you have, any reasonable say you have to expect other people to call you a woman. I mean, a man. Like, you as a trans man forfeit your manhood by using it to prove a point in this fucking pageant. So it's like, you say the transgender participant in Women's World Cup is still a woman, but I thought trans women was already women. And like, still a woman, like trans women can become trans women. How can she still be a woman? A trans woman was a biological man who's had a sex change and became a woman. But this transgender athlete is still a woman. Like, maybe I'm misunderstanding. I'm seeing how he's saying, he might be saying it like, first one, still a woman, even though it's transgender, still a woman. But it's like, nah, doesn't. The need to say that precludes any consideration of actual womanhood whatsoever. Like, don't forget that. But let's get to the article. If you read articles in the legacy media, you might think the Canadian women's national soccer team had an earth-shattering midfielder participate in the FIFA's Women's World Cup. Yet, that is hardly the case. The team has a player who goes by Quinn, a woman who uses they/them pronouns and identifies as non-binary. As a result, the legacy media is gushing over the player, saying Quinn is breaking ground as the first transgender athlete in World Cup history. Stop. Stop. Okay, so let's just go back. So, Quinn, a woman who uses they/them pronouns and identifies as non-binary, is trans. So, I thought in order to be trans, like, if you're non-binary, that means you're neither male nor female. But if you're a trans person, you're either a trans woman or a trans male, which in itself is binary, but that's another discussion. So if you're a non-binary transgender, that's a complete oxymoron. A non-binary transgender is like a binary unigender. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just trying to make sense of that. Quinn's breaking ground as the first transgender athlete in World Cup history, but she identifies as non-binary. So if she's not, she can't be a woman, because a woman is not they/them. They/them includes both male and female, because they're neither by being both, because both can't be both. One has to be one or the other. So them calling her a woman is actually a form of misgendering, because she's non-binary, which means she's not a woman. And if trans women are women, then she can't be a trans woman, and she's certainly not identifying as a man. So what the whole fuck is going on here? Let's just keep reading. For example, BBC ran a piece titled, Quinn, the groundbreaking first out transgender player at a FIFA World Cup. Daily Mirror had a story titled, Who is Quinn? First trans and non-binary star making history at the Women's World Cup. The Sydney Morning Herald offered up a puff piece titled, I Want to Be Visible. The Trans World Cup star breaking down barriers. The Toronto Star published one titled, Being trans wasn't a choice for Quinn. fighting for a better world is. Now, me, I missed the part where this is somehow making the world better. I think it's causing confusion, and I would say in the sense of world betterment, confusion is not necessarily a positive or desired state to inject upon the society which you're trying to liberate with this bullshit. So, yeah. In an Associated Press article titled LGBTQ plus community proud and visible at Women's World Cup, the author mentions Quinn by saying, the 2023 tournament is also hosting the first openly trans and non-binary player in either a men's or a women's cup, Quinn of Canada. Calm down, Legacy Media. There is nothing unique happening. Quinn is a female athlete competing against other women. Quinn happens to identify as a made-up gender, so the liberal Legacy Media is parroting this delusion and acting as if this is not just another woman playing women's soccer. This is why there is no problem with Quinn competing in the Women's World Cup. Identifying as some fake gender gives Quinn no advantage over the competition. If it did, then maybe Canada would not have taken a 4-0 drubbing against Australia on Monday. After all, the Australia women's team once lost 7-0 to a team of 15-year-old boys. Oh, shit. Also, identifying as non-binary does not change the athlete's life much. Quinn is still a female and living as a woman. After all, Quinn plays for a women's national soccer team and is a member of the OL reign of the National Women's Soccer League. Yet this is a good example of the Legacy Media's liberal bias. The aforementioned stories reiterate the false notion that more than two genders exist and pretending Quinn is something other than a woman with short hair. Okay, so we read this article together. I only read the first beginning part of it, and I was so confused. I literally had to go dive head first into some concrete to regain my consciousness and figure out what the fuck galaxy I was existing in and which thread of the universe I was existing in, because the shit just wasn't making no sense. But the person who wrote this article was, after reading it, a tone where it say, first transgender participant in Women's World Cup, still a woman. Like, yeah, like, so what the fuck? So what the fuck? So that's why there's no problem with Quinn competing in the World's Women's Cup. Identifying as some fake gender gives Quinn no advantage over the competition. Like, this is just a woman who says she's trans and non-binary, but lives as a woman. And all this shit just stupid. Like, like none of this makes any fucking sense. Like the fact that a writer had to create and publish some shit like this is patronizing as fuck. Like, this is ridiculous, dude. Let me see if I can walk down that path of logic again. I'm gonna see if I'm trying to recreate it. So we got a non-binary trans woman playing in the Women's World Cup. And to my understanding, non-binary is neither male nor female completely or at all. Or, I mean, partially or at all. So if you're not male, or you're not female, or you're not a man, or you're not a woman, you cannot be trans, because a trans is a biological male who's turned himself into a woman, allegedly, and a trans man is a woman who turned herself into a man, comically, allegedly. So if you don't identify as either of the genders, and you can't identify as both of them, how can you be a trans, non-binary, biological female? Like, a trans non-binary, so you're one of the sexes that you're neither of. Man, it's like so it's just really confusing. And I'm not even trying to be funny here. Like, I'm really trying to think this shit down into something palatable, something I can digest. Like a non-binary trans person. You're not male or female. You live your life as a female, but you're non-binary. You're just a woman with short hair. I'm just trying to think of what's the benefit as a woman in that position is this like a troll? Like a non-binary trans person who identifies as they, them, but lives her life as a woman. Like, what about her? And you can look her up. Like, her name's Quinn, I guess. If you look her up, like, what about that is non-binary trans? Like, I just don't. I know a lot about this shit. And I don't even feel like I'm discovering something new here. I feel like I'm just like repeatedly reaching a natural end of the road that I'm really hoping and praying has some kind of continuity in mind, but like that's really the end of it. It doesn't make sense. It's nonsense. It's foolishness. And this is a clear example of it. Between the trans women winning the golf tournament and having them play that shit to the left, or attempt to play that shit to the left, and then to have an actual woman just kind of like try to like shed her femininity and like make it ambiguous, make it like I'm just on some type of I'm a gray area definite. Like, the fuck? This shit is actually providing me with a headache. Just thinking about this shit, it's really stupid. Like, seriously, it's really fucking dumb. It's a dumb article to even have to report. Like, why these women on this soccer team got beat by a team 7-0. By some 15-year-old boys, and don't you goddamn dare sit here and tell me that they threw the game. I don't want to hear that shit. As a professional adult women's soccer team, you don't throw not even a fucking scrimmage by 7 goals. Come on. Just need to get real, man. I'm losing touch with reality just by even trying. I'm gonna stop trying to think about this shit. Stop processing it through, you know, because it's tying my brain in knots, and it doesn't have to. This shit is wicked. This shit is insane, and I don't want any part of it. I don't want to understand it. I just want it to go away. That would be the best solution for everybody involved. That's the show. Thank you for listening. To pick up where I left off on the last episode, because I did a little bit of digging into this shit, and it's kind of a big deal, so I was just trying to think of something nerdy to throw at the end of the episode, but I've been looking into this sum of cubes puzzle, and first of all, they say it's multiple answers. The first answer was 42. The second answer was for 3, and, well, first answer was 42, second answer was 3. Wait. No. Fuck that. First answer was 42. They said they found other answers since then. That's the, because I don't feel like editing. You know, I don't mind sounding like a dumbass on my podcast because I couldn't read the shit quickly enough. But yeah, cracking the sum of cubes puzzle for 42. Mathematics discover a new solution for 3. The 21-digit solution to the decades-old problem suggests many more solutions exist. This is MIT News, Jennifer Chu. So this is coming out of MIT. Like, fuck. But yeah, it said the answer is 42. The number has pop cultural significance as a fictional answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, as Douglas Adams famously penned in his novel, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The question that begets 42, at least in the novel, is frustratingly, hilariously unknown. I mean, the question that begets 42 is fucking Jackie Robinson. And man, this shit's super nerdy. I'm not going to read all of it. Matter of fact, I'm not going to read any more of it. If you really want to read this article, you can go to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT News, /2021/solution-3-sum-cubes-puzzle-0311. Replay shit if you want to hear it. Or just go to Google, type in X3 plus Y3 plus Z3 equals K. And that's what I did. I didn't mean to pick I didn't mean for it to be so goddamn difficult that nobody would figure it out without having to Google it, you know, because, like, fuck out of here. If you read this article, they say, like, each equation they find takes like hundreds of fucking computer hours and all this kind of shit, and it's not like something you're gonna figure out with a sheet of goddamn paper and a pen and some gumption. It's not happening that way. But anyway, the answer is 42. I'll be sure to have some more gifts for you guys at the end of these episodes. Some of the things I've been doing in the other ones, I just don't want to spoil you fuckers because I know how you get when you start getting gifts too often. But once again, I want to thank you for listening to this episode. You can check out on the Facebook page. I actually live streamed the episode, had a little bit of bonus dialogue in between each segment or whatever, so that's something cool if you want to check out the live segment for episode 32. Yeah, you guys are great. I really appreciate it. I love doing this. And I'll see you guys on the next episode, man. See you guys Wednesday. Well, no, actually see you guys Friday, because this is Wednesday's episode. So, yeah, I'll see you guys Friday. And be looking out this weekend for the first of a 9-part series in logical fallacies, helping people debate better, getting to the bottom of this shit. I'll catch up with y'all later, man. Holla.